Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 173 of the I Rock Knits podcast. Today, I have my guest, Sara from MUSE 2320 in Hastings, Minnesota. She is an independent dyer of yarn and also has a physical yarn store right on the Mississippi River, south of the Twin Cities. And she just moved to a beautiful, bigger space. Welcome, Sara.
Hi.
I'm so glad she's here. She has been previously in a space of how many square feet?
2 square feet, actually. No, not actually 2 square feet. Literally, we were in the space that was actually right next door to this new space. And it was an alleyway. It was an alleyway between 2 buildings in its first life. So I want to say at the widest part of our shop, it was about 10 feet wide, very long, but very
long,
narrow. Yeah, very long and narrow. And we were there for just over 6 years. And it served us well. It really did. It was a super scary plunge when we opened our doors in 2018. And yeah, we had outgrown our space. So we're very excited.
Yeah, because you had a dye studio in the back.
We did. And then we had the dye studio in the back.
A yarn store in the on both sides, let's just say.
We were laughing. Some people and I were laughing. They were like, "Oh my gosh, is that new? Is that a new shelf?
Everybody was saying that.
And it was like, no, it was all in the previous space. Well, not all of it. There is some new stuff in here, but we were just so tiny that you could literally only see what was right in front of your face. But yeah, it served us well. It was definitely a talking point.
Really special, that space. It just felt like you were going into an alley. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know, a dirty like you think of an alley, but they like put a door on the front. They built a door in the front at the back, and you could like go like this to either
literally
side.
And
you just kept walking and walking, and so it felt really it felt special. It was a magical space.
It was a hard space to close the door on. I was actually really emotional that last day that we had finished cleaning out, and I went in and I said, "Thank you to the space. You've been amazing. You have served us well." And I closed the door, and it was emotional. It was a magical, very special space. We're very lucky and fortunate to be literally next door. So we have the opposite side of the limestone wall, which I feel is like, we're still here, that magic is still here in this space. So
the new space is lovely, right? You still have that beautiful wall that is stunning. And then you still have your Minnesota, Wisconsin shelving where the river comes in between, because that's literally where you're kind of located. Right. Kind of right on the border. I'll put a little picture graphic in so people can kind of see. But who built that shelving?
So when we opened our shop,
I feel bad calling it a shelf. It's an architectural piece.
It is a shelf. The utility of the piece is to store yarn, but it is an art piece. Yeah, absolutely. My husband reached out to some of our artist friends when we first opened our shop, and he said, "I would really love for you to have some sort of expression in this new space." And he wanted to surprise me. So that was built by some very dear friends of ours that we did community theater with when we lived in Litchfield, Minnesota. So they did this beautiful job of helping tell our story with this beautiful architectural piece. Like you said, it's got the state of Minnesota, the state of Wisconsin. My husband grew up here in Minnesota. I grew up in Wisconsin, and this the beautiful river coming through is representative of the 2320 of our names. So it is a very special
so
piece.
I'll put a picture in of that too.
Awesome.
You'll have to send me one, because I'm sure I have one on my phone, but You have to send me one. So yeah, let's talk about your name, because I was looking at your website this morning just to see what yarns we wanted to mention and things.
Sure.
And you have on your website, Muse is the unseen driving force that compels us to become creative. And you have a paragraph about your family being creatives.
Yeah.
And that you wanted a special name, but the 2320 is not your address.
It is not.
And people think it's your address, right? They think that it's 2320, but it's not. It's the approximate length of the Mississippi River in miles when you opened. And so, and you are right. The river is right behind your shop.
That's right.
And it's a huge river. I have people who watch from all over the world. So it is a huge river that kind of goes from north to all the way south. It starts in upper Minnesota, right just up the road from the resort that we've gone to every year. My husband has gone to for years on Lake Winnebagosh. And so people will have heard that. But the river starts there and it opens up and then it goes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah. It literally snakes its way down through the United States, tip to tail. And I love that it touches, so many different places along the way. And there's beautiful stories along the way in different cities, and it
does divide Minnesota and Wisconsin for a big chunk of its existence. There's a big chunk of the right hand side of Minnesota as you look at a map, and the left hand side of Wisconsin that divides the two states. So that's really, it's a lovely story that I don't think everybody knows.
Well, and another fun fact is the length of the Mississippi River, and any river truly, is always shifting and changing. So if you look up the length of the Mississippi River now, it's something like 2,345-ish miles from top to tail. And it's always shifting and always changing. And I think that's very much so like our creative experiences. So, yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah. I knew when I met you that you were a special artist person. You definitely have a view of the world and of fiber and things that's very just, I don't want to say mystical, but does that word, I am not coming up with a good word, but
I think that's again, it's magic. There's something that, in fiber arts, there's bits and pieces that connect all of us in whatever form that we use and express ourselves in, all the way from the shepherds, through the mills, through the dyers, through the shop spaces, and into the hands of the makers and the things that they make. And I think, like Emily, the botanical knitter, is an excellent representation of that, the point of connection, where it's all of those bits and pieces that come together and connect us in a really unique and creative way.
She feels that way too, to me, because she's definitely a spinner and likes to get her hands on the early process of yarn. Right. And is knowledgeable in that area, which I'm not. I'm learning now that I've just done the farm yarn shawl.
Me too.
I'm in touch with so many sheep farmers, and they all have different, and I'm very aware of the names of all the sheep and kind of what they look like, but I'm not aware of the touching of and the fiber consistency and what would be different between Cormo and CVM and Shetland.
The value systems.
Because I don't have a spinning background, right? So I'm learning. I know I have purchased a lot of those yarns, but they've already been prepped for me.
Right. And you don't have to know that part of it.
I'm a color queen, right? And so those yarns don't appeal in a booth if they are not dyed, right? I have always just walked by them because I'm like, well, that's not the color palette I
you
wear.
Go straight for the rainbow.
Exactly. And so, but I am really learning to appreciate some of that. One of the things that you said on your website is that when you are dyeing yarn, you touch the yarn about 13 different times.
Yeah.
Easily. And so and that is something that I'm learning to appreciate about from Teresa. is how many times she touches the yarn in her mill. Right. Because they're shearing the sheep and cleaning the sheep and cleaning the fleece and doing all that. And that is fascinating to me. And Teresa, just for everybody, has just recently been on the podcast in March, Get Bent's Farm, and she is near Sara. So they're not too far apart. They are friends. They have worked together.
We collaborate together.
Sara carries some of her yarn in her shop and those things. So yeah, it's starting to feel like a full circle of different people that I'm interviewing and I'm talking to. And then, it's just been a real joy to have different people on the podcast so that I can help kind of spread this connection, not just of Minnesota people, but a lot of just mostly Minnesota people.
Right. That's our world, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So let's go back to your story. How did you learn how to knit?
So I first learned to crochet. That was the first thing I learned to do. I learned from my grandma, Pete, when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I was a bit of a feral child. I spent most of my time in the woods. But she had a lot of patience with me, and I'm left-handed and she's right-handed. So she sat me down in front of her on the floor and showed me in the reflection of a mirror how to crochet. And I picked it up and I ran with it gangbusters. I just, I bedazzled our whole Christmas tree that year with corkscrew spirally ornaments. I couldn't be stopped. It was so much fun. I fell down that rabbit hole hard. And then I did not learn to knit until I was on bed rest with our first kiddo. My mother-in-law taught me to knit because, I was on bed rest and absolutely squirrely was being forced to to sit still and stay put. So she taught me how many years ago is that now? 21 years ago, I learned to knit and did not stop. I did not stop. It is.
I always think that would be an amazing ministry that hospitals and different places, doctor's office could offer, that knitters who have the ability to take a skein of yarn and a needle into someone who is on bed rest, right, for months. And just give them something, you wouldn't have to be even a good teacher. You could just
it's so simple, so basic.
Show them the knit stitch, cast on a hat, and just let them have something in their hands and something that they are creating for their baby, right?
For their baby.
They could, I just think that would be a perfect ministry. And I'm so shocked that we don't have it, like that it's not there with the number of people.
I'm surprised that I haven't heard of that either. You hear about like people making preemie hats and blankets and dropping them off at hospitals, but actually coming in and teaching those tangible things. And again, that's an amazing.
Yeah, because I know they have craft carts when people have chemo, right? They have craft carts. And I just think we need, someone to set up some type of organization that would just get women to sign up, women and men to sign up, to go in and teach at the hospital. It would be really a neat outreach program.
Yeah, that literally is what my mother-in-law did for me. She's like, hold on, calm down. It's going to be okay. Here, put these in your hands, see what you can do. Yeah.
So did you have some type of previous career that you were in before you decided to open the shop? Or were you that was your career being a mom?
So my first round in college was I studied fine art. So I studied printmaking and painting, and that's where I have a lot of just, that history in color theory and processes, arts processes. I always integrated fiber into my artwork when I was in school. They didn't have a fiber arts program there when I studied, but I always integrated fiber into my artwork. So that was my first go round. We got pregnant with our first child right before my senior year. So I wasn't able to finish my degree. They, just all of the chemicals in the studio spaces and what have you. So So I did a lot of like arts shows and festivals and things like that. And I did flowers for a season when our babies were little. And I was home with them primarily. And then when they got a little bit older, I went back to school and I studied psychology and family and marriage counseling. So finished my degree in that. And then I worked in community education for a number of years. So have always been very, very passionate about connections and community and just helping people and creating safe spaces as well. So, but for Bob and I, Bob is my husband, we really came to a point where we decided, because we had talked about opening our own business for, I mean, forever, you know, what would that look like? What would we want that to be? And a yarn shop made a lot of sense for us. So it was a big leap. And it was also me removing myself from my career of choice as well and taking a chance too. So, but yeah, so I've done several things.
Yeah. Most of us have, right?
Yep.
Most of us have.
Somehow this feels very an authentic expression for me. It's a creative expression for me, and I still get to be a people helper and a people connector here in this space. So it feels like I get to use all of the best parts together. So yeah.
I really resonate with that because I'm a gatherer of people as an ultra extrovert. I want to surround myself with people at all time. I can be a lot for introverts, right? Because I'm like always, if I'm at an event, I'm like, hey, come sit with us. And they're
I've got the energy. Let's go.
Right. I'm always like, let's start a knitting group. Let's, all my beginner knitter classes, I make those women become friends, right? Like
you're a people connector.
I get that, right? Like I'm that person who gets all my energy. Well, I have my own inner energy, but I get a lot of my energy from, just being around people. And both my husband and my daughter are both introverts.
Sure.
And so they don't understand the way I see the world as much, right? But I do think that yarn store owners oftentimes are people who want the connection of both creativity, which can be isolating, and social, right? Like it can be both. So how much of your time do you spend dyeing, and how much of your time do you spend on store stuff? I mean, I know you have employees and a couple, right?
Yep. So, so in the new space, that's definitely something that we are investing in and growing. Is we have these really wonderful community of people working here in this space that have their own gifts that that I don't necessarily have, which is necessary when we're growing and doing new things. But it vacillates. It really changes depending on what's happening and what projects we're working on and who I'm collaborating with. So it'll go in big swings where I will be in. And also we moved the dye studio last winter. So that's been removed out of our brick and mortar space. So I will really designate like a solid week in the dye studio, going through all of those processes and producing ahead of myself, which I've also learned to do because I didn't always do that either. And the yarn shop side of things takes just as much time. So it's really, I'm learning to find balance because I'm very passionate about what I do, that I still have to take time to remove myself from work and do the thing. So I couldn't even honestly tell you how many hours I invest in.
I just wondered how exactly what you just said, how you find. So where is your dye space?
So we are very fortunate to live near the downtown area of Hastings. We are not even a mile away. So our home is just up the hill from the brick and mortar shop. And we had a mother-in-law apartment in the back of our home that we converted into a dye studio. So super convenient to have that on site, but also not great for me sometimes because I can always just, I don't leave. I, go and make my cup of coffee in the morning and get those dye pans rolling, and that can be my whole day. But yeah, so the dye studio is in our home. But honestly, everything that I do for MUSE is truly within a 1 mile proximity. So yeah, it's all close to home.
Yeah. I tell people, yes, I'm a knitwear designer and a teacher, but I can spend my days from 10 in the morning till 10 at night on the computer.
Easily.
It's just after supper, I am back in that office.
Yep.
Writing contracts, looking at scheduling, answering emails, updating patterns. And there's so much computer time behind the scenes that it just, and that can really sap your whole day. And, I will say, I have not knit today. I have designs that need to samples.
I have to designate time. Yeah.
But it's really hard to go in and sit down and knit when those things are over there going, this needs your attention.
This priority. We need to do this right now.
Yeah. Exactly. So what do your store hours look like?
So our summer hours, our summer hours are Wednesday and Thursday from noon until 7:30. On Thursday nights, we're going to have social groups from 5 until 7 p.m. Those are open and free to the public. Anyone can come work on whatever you're working on. You're welcome to be here. Friday and Saturday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Sunday, we're open from noon until 4. And on Sundays, we've got social groups that'll be rolling out as well during our entire shop hours. So you can come and go as you'd like. Those are free and open to the public. Bring whatever you're working on. So,
because you've got the space now.
We've got room. Come and fill it, friends. Seriously.
To really hang out in. But you also do some social knitting at the local brewery.
Yes, we do. So, and those things will continue. We'll continue to have special events, and we partner quite a bit with Spiral Brewery next door. So we will still do Pints and Pearls over there in their space. So those things will continue. And we also will be announcing soon the MUSE Fiber Collective, which is a group of makers that are going to come together to tell stories and create special events. And those will likely be happening quarterly. So keep watch for that as well. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, let's see some of your yarn or some of your projects. You can just talk about them too. I can put pictures up on the screen, but if you have anything there, let's just chat about. Let's inspire some people with some.
I brought a handful of things with me today that I am currently working on. I haven't unpacked from Shepherd's Harvest. That's this afternoon. But one of our very popular projects right now is a Victory Garden kerchief that
very popular
for the Minnesota Yarn Shop Hop.
I'll put a picture in of it. Tell us the story behind how you chose. People won't know that the Shop Hop here has a theme. So
So the Minnesota Yarn Shop Hop is a collaborative event between, I think there were 12 of us this year, and that number shifts and changes every year. I think we'll have 2 new shops next year, but this year it was 12 shops. So we come together and work on an event that, we work on it together. I think it's this awesome opportunity for people to come and experience what different shop spaces feel like. The culture, the community is unique in every shop here in the Twin Cities. I love that. So we do it as a fundraising event for our local food shelves. We each feature an independent dyer and designers, and we have an overarching theme every year. So this year it was in the garden. So that was our umbrella theme. And then each of the 12 shops chose their own theme within that context. So MUSE chose to do in the Victory Garden. So ours was about, growing your own vegetables. So all of our colorways were inspired by vegetables, and our featured pattern was the Victory Garden Kerchief. So a super simple kerchief that you can wear in your hair or around your neck to keep the sun off. And it was in a really strong V pattern. So we had a knit and a crochet version. And super duper
and it was
simple.
Striped. It was meant to be striped. It's
right.
Every other row garter, right?
Right. Garter stitch and single crochet. So very strong V pattern in a stripe with 2 different colors. It was just super fun to see different people's interpretation. And Teresa did some farm yarn that we had available as well. And so super simple. So there were lots of people at Shepherd's Harvest that had theirs on. It was really fun to see.
A lot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's been a really fun pattern. That pattern will hang out here in the shop. We'll weave those vegetable colorways into our summer color stories as we transition to tell some other stories.
Yeah, because they were really bright and cheery.
Yeah, very vibrant.
It was red and green and yellow, and they were very bright and cheery. And was there a white too, because of the kerchief?
So Teresa from Get Bent had some of her natural farm fibers that were like a creamy milky color, and then we also had a color called mushroom cap. That was a light tone. So
I was trying to remember the table. We came
down
on that Sunday.
Tomatoes and carrots and corn and basil and eggplant, and we had dirt, because you need good dirt in your Victory Garden. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah, we also had a featured crocheted pickle purse, which was very, very popular.
It was darling. I will put a picture in of that too. It was darling.
Yeah, it was really, it was just one of those fun little, we don't have to take ourselves so seriously. You can absolutely make a pickle purse, you guys. So that was a lot of fun. So the Victory Garden Kerchief will hang out through the summer. I personally have been working on the Henny Penny sweater, which I have. Hold on, let me grab it. This one's really hard for me to finish. I'm on the home stretch, but it's made out of wet lopi, so it's a little warm right now. But the Henny Penny sweater, so it's got all of these little chickens on the yoke.
It's awesome.
Seriously, I'm dead over this sweater. It's the cutest. So now I'm coming back and doing some overstitching for the chicken feet. And then I will be done with the Henny Penny once all of that is finished. But this has been a super fun, whimsical pattern to work on.
Do you know the designer?
Yes, it is. Hold on one second.
I can look it up too.
Yeah, I thought I popped it in my bag. Hold on. Svetlana. Vetka Knits is the name of the designer, Vetka, and her name is Svetlana. Hold on, I can't read. Gibadullina is her name. So she's on social media. You can find her on Instagram, and the name of the pattern is the Henny Penny. Yeah, it's super cute.
It's great. It's really good.
Yeah, so that's one that is on my list that I'm going to finish before I tuck it into the hope chest, because it will languish and be sad otherwise. It's too good to do that. Even though
well, then when you, in the fall and when you go to take it out, you'll be like, oh, I have to finish those feet.
Finish it. I know, those darn chicken feet. Yeah, so we're on the home stretch with that. I'm currently working on a pair of socks for my kiddo who's graduating. So that was one of their requests, was a pair of hand knit socks for them to wear for their graduation. So I'm going to try, I think it should be okay. These are DK weight. It's just a vanilla sock pattern. So I think I'm going to be able to get them done. And this color is one of their favorites. This colorway is called Grandma's Davenport. So That's super fun. And I am not normally a sock knitter. I don't know about you. Do you like knitting socks?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I knit 150 pairs of socks 10 years ago. Like,
good Lord.
Like an obnoxious. That's all I did. And
so that was your jam back in the day.
It's like, I'm so over it. It's like pizza. I ate so much in college. I couldn't do it for a long time. Right. Like I'm just, I don't enjoy it anymore. Like I designed some socks. I have a huge bin of socks, that huge. My husband has a drawer full. My daughter has a drawer full. And then I just was cleaning out a bedroom drawer the other day in the closet. And I probably had a stack of 8 or 10 pairs that have never been worn by anybody, right?
Brand new.
They're like
ready to gift.
Like to gift, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, you have so many of these. So I don't need to knit any more socks, right? The self-striping thing, I was just all in on that. And now I don't want to make them anymore.
I get it. I totally get it.
I made it the Descent socks when Kylie, graduated from college and got into law school. So I made that. And when she went to college, I made a pair that said I farted on the bottom because she thought that they were hilarious. But
that is hilarious.
They were shorties, but other than that, socks are just not my thing anymore. Yeah. Not so much.
They're hard. They're hard for me to knit. And I don't know why. My kids chose that to be the thing that they want me to knit for them, but here we are. So I have one more pair of socks.
You probably need a circular sock machine for the new shop.
That's what I feel like. Bob keeps telling me we need an Erlenbacher. I mean, it's an investment for the shop.
Very. But my friend Amber got one from a lady who bought it and just couldn't get used to using it, and she got a great deal. So I do think that you have to be in the right place at the right time.
But I think you're right. And you need to know the right people. Yeah. I agree.
There are people who don't enjoy the sock machine.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to put that out into the universe now that we're just going to. So the other pair of socks that I'm working on are for my other kiddo, Britta. And this is the sock designer that I usually send people to when they're looking for something a little interesting, is Summerly Knits.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so her patterns are so stinking cute and playful and an excellent just
absolutely
use of mini hanks, and her patterns are structured just really well. So this was the first release of her Colorwork Cuff Club. So these I've been working on for a minute, right? But I love her patterns. They're super playful.
Her aesthetic is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just,
she does a really good job.
So cute. And she's just taken it. Yeah. So she's got a great book or two out there now. And Yep.
Yeah. So she is fantastic. I highly suggest, when people are looking for that next step in sock knitting, she's the person I send people to. So yeah. What else do I have? The project that I worked on our way home from Salem when we went out to the Fiber Witch Festival. So these I started. This was another sock pattern, but I'm changing them into mittens. So super fun, starry pattern. The pattern was by Subito. So working on that. These, I don't know if these are going to get done this summer. These might sit in my whip basket for a minute, but I've got two. Like, I'm doing the thing. So yeah, but these are super cute. They reminded me of the sweater that Coraline wore in the movie. Yeah. So that I am working on. And also I started tinkering with spinning after this weekend. I bought a drop spindle at Shepherd's. Yeah.
Had you done it before?
So yes, I have tinkered with spinning, but I am not proficient by any means.
Yeah,
it is not
me
my
either.
chosen.
I took drop spindle class I dropped and broke my spindle in the first 5 minutes.
That's a very sad day. I'm sorry for your loss.
Dang. But
yeah, Teresa from Get Bents has so much delicious fiber here in the shop. So that's what I'm spinning with. I'm spinning with one of her fibers that has, I don't know if you can see it. It's like sparkly. It has little sparkly bits in it.
Yep.
I want to know how to talk about it, and
I'm with you. I'm completely with you. I need to handle it at that state more. Like I need to, but I don't want to become a full-on spinner. I don't have time to do all the
can't do all the things.
Yeah. So I can't jump into like a spinning wheel.
Yep.
And I'm kind of glad I never have, because people say they don't have time for both a lot.
Right.
But
and that makes sense. I mean, we literally sometimes we just have to choose, you know what I mean? Like we can't do all of the things.
No,
you gotta die from yarn, fibers. So.
But I tell people my job is to stay home every day and knit like that. Right now, that's technically my job. I teach, but that's my job, and I don't have time to knit all the things I want to knit. So if you think that, you don't have time, I have time. I'm like, my day should be doing that, and I can't knit everything I want to knit. So we just can't. Not enough. We can't
do all the things.
Yeah, there are too many great patterns and yarns out. Okay, let's talk about your boxes, your MUSE boxes. You've got your summer solstice, and you have Grimm, right?
Yes. Yep.
And you have a autumn equinox kind of thing too going on.
We do. Yeah. So those have just those have taken off in a way that was really unexpected for me, truthfully. Last year I did a monthly series based off of science fiction books and movies and comics, and that blew up like gangbusters. I was like, oh, this will be a fun little thing for me to do. No, just kidding. Oh my gosh, it was bananas how excited people get about special colorways that are inspired and unique and small batch.
The name of a yarn will sell the yarn over and over again.
Just like a label on a bottle of wine, it's going to sell.
And the name of a pattern for me, name of a pattern will sell the pattern.
It will. People want to take that feeling. They want to, when they're wearing that garment, they want to say, yeah, this was inspired by the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or, whatever. Yep. Yeah. So this year, the special project is Grimm's Fairy Tales, which is hilarious. So most of us, I would say, are familiar with Grimm's Fairy Tales. But when you really do a deep dive into Grimm as they were written, that is some dark and spooky stuff.
Dark, very dark. Yeah.
What? Yeah. So it's super entertaining for me. It gets my nose into a book and is, again, a really creative way for me to pull color out of a story and then express that onto fiber and then send that out into the universe and see what people make with it. So
that's a monthly subscription.
Yes, Grimm is a monthly subscription. So that opens up at the beginning of every month. I open it up. You can subscribe, so it's automatic, but you can also jump in at any point as well. So I open that up for the first 10 days of the month.
And do you give away the inspiration at that point?
I do not. Okay. Nope. So it's a blind, like you're going in blind when you order Grimm. So so close on the 10th of every month, and I ship out one of the last couple of days of the month so that I have time to dye that and package it.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw the one this weekend at Shepherd's Harvest. Mm-hmm. Was it purple?
It was green. So, and it's a set. So it would be like your typical sock set. It comes with a full 100-gram hank of yarn and a mini hank. So it was green and purple. And the story was donkey cabbages, which is not a well-known Grimm fairy tale, but hilarious. So
donkey cabbages did not have reference to Shrek.
It did not.
Oh, well.
It did not.
So when you send out the thing, do you send out a little thing that says what it's referencing?
Yes. So I wish I had one to show you what it looks like. So they're wrapped in like what looks like a vintage book, like a piece of paper around the set. And when you open that up, I give a little synopsis of the story with the name of the story on the wrapper. And then I will do the excerpt that the colors are inspired by on the other side.
Because we were standing there and we loved the name, Donkey, right? Like we loved that. And we were all like, oh, and then someone said, oh, I bet it's Shrek because the donkey.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Shrek, right? And I was like, oh, it could be, right? I don't know what Shrek was based in, if it was a
right. I don't know. That's a really good question. I think we could do a little deep dive on that.
That's funny that we were so wrong. We were so off base. But yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so then you also have your summer solstice, which is a bigger.
Right. Yeah. So that is more of like an experiential box. The spring or the solstice equinox box is a quarterly project that I'm doing during 2025. So that is more of an experiential box. And there are a couple of options for that. There's a sock, there's a sparkly base, there's a DK base, and then there's also a spinners box as well that features Get Bent's fiber. And so it's really inspired by that particular solstice or equinox that we are currently moving into. So, and those are a blind box as well. So you don't necessarily know ahead of time what's going to be in it. But I will tell you that I usually tuck in a special tea blend, a special colorway that's connected to that season. I'll throw in, like in the spring box, I had some seed bombs, a candle that was from Ostera. So it's definitely like that ritual of what we do, right? It's the setting up in our little corner of the universe and drinking that special tea or drink and burning our favorite candles and setting the stage to be creative and cozy. So, yeah.
Okay. So, how is that? You sign up at the beginning of a quarter or you sign up for the whole year?
So when I do a project like that, I'll usually launch it in December of the year ahead of time. So if you know that you want to invest in that entire year's experience, you can do that in December.
Okay.
So I'll launch special projects for next year in December.
Okay.
But then I will open that up so that people have the opportunity to participate through each of the seasons, or if they learn about it later, they still have the opportunity to jump in on the next one. So right now, the summer equinox box is still available for like the next week, and then I'll close and prepare the boxes. So
okay. And do you have a shipping person or is it you?
I am legit. It's me. It's bananas. Like, well, we are in the throes of, I know, we are in the throes of training our staff to do all of the moving pieces of the business. But honestly, through, the beginning of the winter here, it has been me and Bob. Bob has been an amazing support person. And I will have friends that come in and help. So like Kayla from Alt Knots, when we collaborate together, Kayla will show up ready to pack out those boxes. Like I've got my cheerleaders that show up to do the things, the big projects. But in the day-to-day, primarily it has been, it's been a wild ride.
So are you hauling all the yarn from the dye studio down to the shop to ship it? Or do you ship from home too?
So when I do special projects, those never leave the studio space.
Okay.
Those will ship out right from the studio. So I don't have to haul them down to do that here. We have a shipping area set up in the studio, and then we will set up a shipping area here in the brick and mortar as well, so that we don't have to do that, that double movement of products and goods. And
because that logistics of that, I was just like, not just shipping, but all of it. Yeah.
All of the
labels, printing labels and.
Yeah. There's like you said earlier, right? That one hank of yarn, we can touch 13 times during a process, and just my process.
Yeah.
And yeah, moving it from space to space isn't always great. So.
Do you have any yarn handy that you can show us?
Sure. These are all fingering weight yarns, but they are the popular girlies. Like these are the ones that people are, you know, they're
that
like
would be great because we haven't really shown other than some pictures I might put in, and I'm like, she's a yarn dyer. We should show some skeins. I know you haven't unpacked from Shepherd's Harvest, so.
Oh, hold on one second. I'm going to. So this is probably one of my best combinations, most popular combinations. I would say that this Slub and the Surrey Alpaca Silk combination had a moment, right? Like a couple of years ago, but she is still the most popular girly in the shop. It makes the most delicious fabric. It's lightweight.
I love that Slub colorway. I have been tempted so many times to get that. Yeah.
So this colorway is called Bubblegum Ice Cream. And this color lives through our summertime color story. So this will be in the shop.
Can you hold it really close so people can see the Slub? There we go. There we go.
Yep. Yeah. And this colorway in particular is just so delicious on the Slub.
What is Slub yarn?
So Slub yarn, so this is technically a fingering weight. It's highly textured in the way that it is spun.
Yep.
So you can see it's got a super kinky texture, right? So that nylon strand that they spin it with is really tightly spun. So it creates this like really textural, lovely, kinky bit. And then there is a slubby bit, a slub that's pulled like a little beehive periodically as it's being spun. So it just is highly textured and just makes the most delicious fun fabric. Yeah. So this combination still is one of the most popular combinations here in the shop.
And what are people knitting with that? What are they mostly making?
Simple shapes. Simple shapes are best. The sweater that I always for this combination is the Felix.
Okay.
Felix is super simple.
Yep.
It's got a cute little eyelet detail on the raglan. People always feel successful with that kind of combination, right?
Yes.
Simple. It feels special. It feels really special when it's finished. So the Felix is the sweater that I usually suggest. One of my other Minnesota Yarn Shop hot patterns was the hood. That was last year's pattern that featured this combination and was super popular. It still is. So,
and that pattern would be out on Ravelry now, the hood?
That pattern is on Ravelry, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I do have a cowl conversion with the hood patterns as well. There's a knit and a crochet version. So if you're not a hood person, you can purchase the pattern and there's a cowl pattern as well.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know for people.
The other super popular base, this base, the Slub, I am just about out of after Shepherd's Harvest. Like it's gone.
Okay.
But it will be in the dye pans again this week. This one as well. So this is called Warbler. And it's like a zebra ply yarn. This was super surprising to me. Sometimes I'm just very surprised on what people are attracted to. But it's, again, super duper fun. Does a lot of the work for you. The way that I dye my semi-solid yarns create a lot of dimension in the color, but then the ply also has a tonal shift as well. So that's a really fun one to play around with. And then, I don't know if this will pick up on the camera or not. Starling is our sparkly base.
Yep.
It's a gold sparkle and one of our most popular
It's really
bases.
pretty.
Yeah, it really lights up beautifully with this color in particular. But yeah, so those
That's
are
a
some
beautiful
of our
fall tone. Just really pretty fall tone. Not
this
that you couldn't pair it with other things for dolls for striping or whatever, but.
And that's exactly it. It usually runs in my fall and winter color rotations. It's called Florence and was a part of a series I did inspired by album covers. So
Yes,
Florence
I
and the
remember.
Machine. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for coming on today. Do you have anything that I've missed? I tried to really talk really in all aspects of your business. So, but I might have missed
I think we could talk for days. Isn't that the beautiful thing about this? Right?
I know, but I really am happy to share you with my followers and my viewers from all over, because although local Minnesota folk will know you and know of you, there are going to be lots of people that, well, even in Minnesota, that they don't go to the shop hop, and they might not even know that there's a yarn store in Hastings. So
we're here. Come say hello.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
the new spaces. If you haven't been down to the new space, it's worth a drive just to go down, because it's a pretty drive.
It is.
Well, we didn't come down on where do we take? I can't remember, but we have driven well, because my daughter had her horse in Hastings for many years up by the golf course up the hill. So so I know many routes from Victoria.
I'm sure you do.
That aren't on 494 across the bottom of the city.
No, take the back roads. Honestly, if you take a little Thule trip to Hastings, take the back roads.
And your downtown is so quaint and lovely. And there's
we've got a lot of great
right there, and the lots of there's great little restaurants and brewery and little shopping places. It's kind of that hometown Main Street Americana right there. It's really really neat, and you are right in the heart of it. So
we're right downtown,
just as you come over the bridge. So okay, thank you so much, Sara. I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Corey. Have a good day. Bye. Yep.